Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Steel City Sports Report, where we talk everything Steelers, Penguins, and Pirates. I am your host, Brady Vini. What is going on, everybody? Back here after the last 2 days off, unexpectedly so. We were here on Tuesday, had the big breaking news of Mike Tomlin stepping down as the Pittsburgh Steelers head coach. I was thankful enough that all of that news happened. We got to react to that on 2 live streams. Thankful that all of that happened before Wednesday. Wednesday, woke up sick as a dog. Yesterday, was feeling a little bit better, but energy-wise, just wasn't there. So after 2 days off, the batteries, for the most part, recharged. I would say about 80%, 85%, somewhere in that range we are feeling here today. But, of course, we are good enough to get back on here for our live stream and talk about our favorite thing, that being Pittsburgh sports. Since we last spoke, some things that we will be talking about this evening before we head into the weekend. Art Rooney II, Pittsburgh Steelers owner, holding a press conference on Wednesday. Of course, I got to listen to that a little bit while I was down for the count. But Rooney had some interesting things to say in his press conference. We'll recap what all went on in that. And also, the Steelers search for a new head coach officially beginning today. I have not seen anything yet on if the interviews have been completed yet, but there were 3 head coaching candidates that were on the docket for the Steelers to meet with today. There is one scheduled for tomorrow as well. Who those head coaching candidates are and some others that the Steelers are requesting to interview down the line, we will talk about as well. We will also discuss player reactions to Mike Tomlin's departure, some somber, almost funeral-like vibes and reactions to Tomlin announcing to the team that he will be leaving, what players were completely devastated by this, what some other players are saying through social media. We will break down all of that as well. And then the final big topic that we will talk about today, the Pittsburgh Penguins, the local hockey team. They, since we last spoke, playing 2 more games, split decisions in those games, falling in a shootout to the Tampa Bay Lightning, but then picking up all of our feelings over, the Steelers loss to the Texans and all that. They raised our happiness a little bit by completely going BTA on the Philadelphia Flyers last night. After we get through all of that, we'll get into some extra Pittsburgh sports news from the past few days, and then we'll head into the weekend. So hopefully a quick and easy live stream here tonight. Not sure how the voice is going to hold up, but hopefully we will make it through it and go into the weekend before we reconvene back here on Monday. Before we officially get this show moving along here this evening, of course, if you are new here, welcome to the Steel City Sports Report. On your way in, please hit that like button, share this live stream, and in the comment section, any thoughts, questions, or opinions that you may have, get those in the comment section. I would appreciate it if you subscribe to the channel, up to 708 subscribers last time that I checked. So please keep hitting that subscribe button so we can keep climbing and climbing towards 750. And then eventually here, 1,000 I would like to get before the start of the new NFL season. That would probably be a lofty goal, but I'm hoping that we can make it there. So subscribe, turn on notifications, like, share, leave a comment. Also, go give the channel a follow at Steel City SR on Facebook, Instagram, and X. And come back a little bit later on tonight for some semblance of SCSR 60. I'll put together that as best as I can. To the comment section we go here to start the show. Concepts, very kind words. Thank you all, by the way, whether it was on X or whether it was on the actual YouTube channel, for the well wishes during my time sick. Back, was getting withdrawal. Hope you're feeling better. Feeling a little bit better. Like I said, Wednesday, completely down for the count. Had absolutely nothing. Slept most of that day. Thursday, yesterday, was feeling a little bit better. Most of the illness symptoms subsided, but energy-wise just was not there. Today, we're back around 80-85%, but that's good enough to get going. Mike Tomlin said, "Are you hurt?" It's an old Mike Tomlin thing. Are you hurt or are you injured? We're hurting today. We're not injured, so we are good to go and get on here tonight. Concepts, also a comment before the live stream even started, and this is going to come up here at I think towards the back end of this first segment, when we talk about the Steelers' new head coach search, the wrong Smith getting targeted by other teams, not the Smith that we wanted, whether that's Arthur or Jonnu, or, of course, as we call him here, Marquez Valdez Smith. What Smith could be leaving the Steelers, I think we are all pretty upset and hope that he does not go. Hopefully the new coach will be able to retain him and that he does not go elsewhere. We will talk about that concepts. Also, when is the Texans Steelers wild card game? Still no word of when that game will be played. Was it canceled? Did we miss it? Yeah, I mean, Steelers Texans wild card. I have no idea when it is. I do know that the Texans season will be coming to an end about, I'd say, 6:00 ish on Sunday because of their mascot doing a certain terrible deed to a dearly beloved piece of Steelers history. So we do know that the Texans season will be coming to an end shortly enough, concepts. Don't you worry about that. CWC Ryder in here, welcome. Do you know exactly where in Pittsburgh the draft will be from? New sub here, thanks. The draft in Pittsburgh, from the last time I heard, it is going to be held at Point Park, right there at the confluence of the three rivers. So it's going to be right at the tip of Point Park. It's going to be held in the park there. I want to say the stage will probably have the backdrop of downtown. So you're probably going to have, if you're looking at the stage, you're probably going to have the rivers behind you. You're going to have two rivers on each side of you. You're going to have the one river behind you. The stage will be here over to your left. Across the river will be PNC Park and Acrisure Stadium, which I do think they're going to have draft festivities over on that side of the river too. You are going to have a big screen watch party over there at Acrisure Stadium and stuff like that. So pretty much all of downtown Pittsburgh is going to be an absolute football fan mad haven when the draft rolls around here in a handful of months. Jonathan Harvey in here. Welcome back, Jonathan. Hope the new head coach is an offensive guy. Yeah, I think that's a reasonable hope there. I don't care as long as we get a young offensive mind in some way, shape, or form on this staff, as in at least an offensive coordinator role. If we get a defensive guy like a Chris Shula or trying to think what else, Jesse Minter, something like that, at least let's make sure that we're bringing together an up-and-coming part of the McVay, LaFleur, Shanahan tree offensive mind and put him in at OC, because this Steelers offense, one of the worst in the NFL over the past half decade to a decade, honestly, really, since Big Ben, lost his arm with that whole elbow injury. Ever since then, the Steelers offense has been near the bottom of the league. So just getting a bright offensive mind with a modern day playbook in this organization will be a great thing to have here. Concepts. I'm clueless with coaching candidates. All I know is what the bios online say. Honestly, concepts, me pretty much as well. I have been, picking little pieces from what I've seen, other ways online of what these of who these candidates are. Some of them seem good. Some of them I'm a little skimpy on. But hey, I don't think we're going to know the ultimate. I don't think we're going to ultimately know what these coaches can do and how they will be as head coach until they're here and they get a couple of games under their belt. So we can, almost like the draft, we can project who will be the best. And when a hire gets made, we'll say we either like this guy because he can do this and this, or we don't like this guy because he won't be able to do this and this. But we won't ultimately know until, these guys get out there on the field and this guy is calling all the shots. Lester here. Welcome, Lester. Would like to get John Harbaugh in Pittsburgh. He would know the Ravens very, very well. Unfortunately, Lester, if Harbaugh were still available, there's absolutely no way that the Steelers were going to bring in Harbaugh, nor do I think Harbaugh would have all that much interest in coming to Pittsburgh. It's almost the same thing like saying Tomlin would go to Baltimore. And B, Harbaugh already off the market. I believe it was either late Wednesday night or early yesterday morning. Harbaugh, I think, is going to agree with a deal per multiple reports with the New York Giants. So he's going to head to New Jersey to coach the Giants. No deal official yet. They're still working out some of the details there, but Harbaugh not coming to Pittsburgh was never a thought. He's instead going to go over to coach the G-Men. Welcome, CW Ryder. Thank you for the subscription and the comment. Thoughts on Will Howard? Will he get a realistic shot? Howard, will he get a realistic shot? Maybe, maybe not. That's to be determined. Depends on what head coach gets hired and how do they feel about Howard, seeing how the new head coach wasn't in the organization when Howard was taken. How will the new coach view Howard's skill set, and will it, mesh with the type of offense that offensive scheme that he's going to run? I don't know. There's too many questions. Will Howard get a shot in the preseason, and maybe if it is going to be an exploratory year coming up with the Steelers where you're not going to get Aaron Rodgers back? I doubt Mason Rudolph is going to be back. You're probably looking at Howard and maybe a free agent pickup and maybe a late round quarterback pickup. So maybe out of what I'm predicting to be next training camp, a competition at quarterback, maybe he gets a shot out of it, but just too many question marks up in the air for me to definitively say he is going to get a shot right now. Mean Green in here. Welcome back, Mean Green. Steelers need a young offensive mind, sort of going with the same idea as Jonathan Harvey earlier. To begin the new coaching staff, Arthur Smith was absolutely awful, to say the least. Well, good news and bad news. If you are looking for an offensive mind, spoiling ahead to our talks about the potential new coaching candidates for the Steelers, most of them are defensive-minded, defensive background head coaching candidates. But the good news is, doesn't look like Arthur Smith is going to be around here all that much longer because Art Rooney II said so. Well, he didn't say so specifically, but Rooney's mouthpiece through the media, Jerry Dulac, said so. And also, Smith is getting interviews for both head coaching and offensive coordinator spots by other teams around the league. So Arthur Smith think that nightmare is over. Pretty much the entire rest of the coaching staff, along with Mike Tomlin, most of that will not be here this upcoming season. Concepts here: 28 free agents from our roster. I think 27 now with Thielen retired. Indeed, Adam Thielen did retire. Should be interesting to see who the new head coach keeps and who doesn't. Now that Tomlin has stepped down with the new head coach coming in, he's going to want to bring in his own guys. Maybe he sees a few guys from the team last year that he would want to bring back and say, hey, I can work with these guys. But definitely do think out of all of the free agents that the Steelers are scheduled to have, I think we went over it on Tuesday before we were off the past 2 days. I do think now you will see a good chunk of guys who would have came back with Tomlin here not come back now that Tomlin has stepped down. There are a few guys, though, that I do want unnegotiably, regardless of who comes in as head coach for the Steelers, to bring back. I think number one on all of our minds, Kenneth Gainwell. I would love for him to come back. Same thing with Calvin Austin. I think he had a really strong ending to the season. And Austin, he kind of feels like a guy, regardless of scheme, that he'd be able to work in almost any sort of system. Same thing with Gainwell. So just those two guys off the top of my head, I would want to bring back. And the head coach, I think, should want to bring back regardless of scheme fit or not. 9 of you in here right now. Welcome to the live stream. Again, on your way in, please hit that subscribe button. One last comment here from Concepts in the meantime before we officially get the show started here tonight. Free agency and the draft are my favorite parts of the season. So the change is exciting in that regard. Hope it's exciting and extremely eventful. Agreed there. Free agency and the draft, they are very exciting in the offseason. Unfortunately, though, for the Steelers and the expectations we have from them, unfortunately, we get excited and anticipatory for these events sooner than, teams that go deep into the playoffs here. So that's both the give and take in that scenario. 12 of you in here right now. Like I said, we are going to begin the show with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And since we were out, since I was out, I should say, the past few days with illness. We're going to recap real quick, go back to Wednesday, recap a little bit of what Art Rooney said, Steelers owner, in his press conference. AR the second, speaking on a multitude of topics. We're going to go back and see what he said for a little bit. Then we will get into the Steelers head coaching search. First time they are doing that since 2007. First time that both Omar Khan and Art Rooney II have by themselves gone through a head coaching search. Especially intrigued yet worried about Art Rooney and his evaluation of coaches, because this is his first time doing it. Back when Tomlin was hired, it was his father, the ambassador, Dan Rooney, who hired Tomlin. Now this time it is Art all by himself. Same thing with Omar. What Art had to say and who they are looking at for head coaching candidates, we get into right now. Rooney's press conference on Wednesday held at around noonish, and like I said, he covered a whole bunch of stuff. Of course, Rooney started off his press conference saying that Tuesday, when Tomlin announced to the team and notified Rooney that he would be stepping down, it was an emotional day. The exact comment from Rooney right here: "It was an emotional day for everyone in our organization. Mike has been a great leader of our franchise now for 19 years. He led us with toughness, integrity, and always reflected the values of our organization." Going a little bit further, this quote here from Rooney, I kind of took a little bit of pause to. He said, "The bottom line is we were always in contention with Mike, and that's what counts." Does it, though? Does always being in contention count? Also, Rooney, owner of the franchise, one of the most decorated and historic and well-respected franchise in NFL history. I think our expectations as fans of this team on what contention is, our view of what contention is, and your view, kind of a little bit apart right now. If contention is, since 2016, losing in the first round of the playoffs every single year, missing the playoffs 3 other years in that time span. If that's contention, then I don't want to know. I don't want to know what your thoughts of being Super Bowl caliber is. Maybe it's making it to the divisional round. I don't know, but saying we're in the bottom line in contention for playoffs with Tomlin, yeah, cannot disagree with that one. You were always in contention to make the playoffs with Tomlin. Always we make the jokes 9-8, 10-7, wild card if you make it some years, first round playoff exit. That's contention for the playoffs. Contention for the Super Bowl Super Bowl, though, quite far from that. So got to be more clear on what exactly it is that the Steelers were always in contention for there, Rooney. That's my thoughts on that quote. Some more on Rooney on his meeting with Tomlin on Tuesday, that Tomlin said he was stepping down. Rooney said it was his decision. Rooney said he himself was shocked, but he wasn't expecting the conversation to go that way either. He said, quote, "When you get to this stage of a career, you could see that coming." Also said, "I think we all knew we were getting towards the end," and stuff like that. So Rooney pretty much in that sense that maybe in the coming years, something like this was going to happen with Tomlin stepping down, but was it going to happen less than 24 hours after the Steelers just lost their 7th consecutive first round of the playoffs? I don't think he was expecting that. Rooney did say that he did not try to talk Tomlin out of his decision, which I agree was a good thing, not just because it was time for a change. I think most of Steelers Nation agrees that it was time for a change, but also because if Tomlin was going to walk into Rooney less than 24 hours, maybe even more, around 12 hours after losing that game, and he says, "I'm stepping down," Rooney trying to talk Tomlin out of doing that probably would have been a moot point, because if Tomlin's doing that, we always talk about Mike saying, I'm not a knee-jerk reaction type of guy. If Tomlin is going to step down that soon after a playoff game, then more likely than not, he was thinking about doing that for at least a little while now. So good on Rooney for at least, not trying to force Tomlin back into doing something he probably wasn't going to want to do. So at least those two parted on somewhat good terms there. Some other things from Rooney. He did not want to get into the conversation of Tomlin's contract. Tomlin did sign an extension, I believe last offseason or 2 off seasons ago. He had at least this upcoming season, the 2026 season left on his contract, and then there was an option for the 2027 season as well. Rooney did say he was willing to run it back, or trying to think of his exact phrasing here. Take one more crack at it, something like that. With Tomlin, did not specify if he would have picked up the 2027 option or not, but judging from his tone and some of the words he used, sounded like he didn't want to talk about his contract, and a big reason why is because he probably wasn't going to pick up that option, and it was going to be a prove it or lose it year for Tomlin in 2026. A few other things from Rooney on Tomlin before we get into some other stuff that he said. He said that Tomlin's decision was more of a family-related decision than a football one, said that he'll leave it to Tomlin to explain his decision later down the road. Family decision, I mean, could I see that from Tomlin? Absolutely. 19 years on the job, you're away from your family, you're going to miss a whole ton of stuff. Birthdays, weddings, funerals, anniversaries, graduations, stuff like that. You are committed to a year-round job with the Steelers there. So I understand if he made a family decision, saying I missed a whole bunch in life and I want to start being more of a family man here. But also, thing that does give me pause is, was it entirely a family-related decision? Could have been most of the decision, yes. But is there a little part of that maybe says Tomlin was starting to hear the boo birds and the fire Tomlin chants? I think that's the case as well. Yeah, even had just a few days ago, Josina Anderson, NFL insider, she reported that Tomlin, she said that Tomlin didn't feel appreciated by Steelers fans around Pittsburgh, and that factored in his decision to leave. So maybe most of it was family, and then the rest of it was maybe he felt he wasn't welcomed here anymore. If that's the case, I mean, what did you expect? I mean, pushing a decade now, it will be a decade actually. By this time next year, it will be a decade since the Steelers last won a playoff game. So you go a decade without a playoff win in this town with this organization. I mean, it's not like we are going to give you a pat on the back here and say, "Hey, good job, keep it up, keep trying." So, if that's a part of the decision, then so be it. We'll lay in the bed that we made right there. A couple other things. Tomlin here, according to Rooney, did indicate to AR2 that he will not be coaching in the near future. Rooney said that Tomlin did not indicate that he wants to coach in the near future. He said they'll work through any trade scenarios because they still maintain Tomlin's rights with his contract not being terminated, meaning he didn't get fired. But finding a new job doesn't seem to be on Tomlin's radar right now, according to Rooney. Good. I mean, Tomlin, I think when he stepped away, thought, all right, he's going to take a few years off and then maybe he'll come back a la Sean Payton, but not even sure that that's the route either, because there have been some speculations from like Bob Pompiani, one of the biggest news anchors and media personalities in Pittsburgh, as well as Jerry Dulac, who's connected deeply to Art Rooney. Both of those guys say that Tomlin does not have all that much interest in going into TV. So those speculations that Tomlin could be going to Fox or ESPN, Thursday Night Football on Amazon Prime. Those things apparently not as realistic as what we initially believed to be. So wondering now what? Tomlin just stepped away. Is he going to go into the shadows, go off the grid here for a year or two? Does he change up his mind and go into TV after all? I don't know. But the most important thing there that I take away is that the Steelers still do hold his rights. So if he ever wants to come back to coaching, the Steelers are going to probably get a draft pick compensation or something like that for a team to acquire Tomlin's working rights. Some other things. Look here. Rooney said, yeah, that's the whole thing. He was willing to take another run at it with Mike. Onto a few things away from Tomlin. Rooney said that he and general manager Omar Khan are leading the search for the next head coach. Good that Khan is being weighed into the decision. Rooney, still a little bit skeptical. Like I said, this is his first time doing it. There are a couple of other guys they will be listening to, but they are the end-all, be-all on the decision. I would love Danny Rooney, who is the heir to the throne of Art II, to be in on this decision. I would also like maybe some of the cornerstone players still on the team, assuming that they still want to be here. TJ Watt, Cam Hayward, those guys, would love for those guys to be in on the decision as well. But Khan and Rooney, they are the guys that will have the final say in this whole thing. Rooney did say that the Steelers right now are not going to narrow the box at all on what type of coaching candidate they will bring in. Retreads, I think, is the one caveat that they aren't all that interested in. So you won't see Mike McCarthy or Jason Garrett, anything like that. Kevin Stefanski, probably not. You won't see any sort of retread coach come in here and get the head job. So we're looking more young guy here, defensive or offensive mind. They said that they aren't going to narrow the box. Also, something they're not interested in. Rooney said that candidates on the staff currently are not going to get interviewed for the head coaching job. They will not be in consideration. At that moment there, all of Steelers Nation applauded. No sort of smokescreen of Terrell Austin or Arthur Smith getting a chance to take over and be the head honcho here, especially for Arthur Smith. I think tons of people are happy about that. Also, crazy enough, now that no one on the Steelers staff will be getting offered a head coach spot, I think that will all but confirm in 19 years as Steelers head coach, Mike Tomlin did not have a single branch of his coaching staff go on to be a coordinator or a head coach. So that right there is pretty crazy. Art, in hiring a new head coach, said he would love to have another Chuck Noll, Bill Cowher, or Mike Tomlin, but he's not going to put super lofty expectations on that happening. The type of the main characteristic he is looking for in the next head coach is leadership. So a leader of men, someone with some charisma, like a Tomlin, like a Cowher, like a Noll. Not going to break the mold or trend there. Rooney said about Aaron Rodgers, said that Aaron came here to play for Mike. I think that will affect his decision. So he, thinking alike with the rest of us, the Aaron Rodgers chapter in Pittsburgh, it is one and done. Rodgers went to bat for Tomlin immediately after the game on Monday, Thursday or Tuesday. Tomlin's gone. Like to think Rodgers, he is out the door. He's probably all the way back in Malibu right now, contemplating if he wants to go play for another team or if he wants to just go and ride off into the sunset of retirement. Rooney, in hiring a new head coach, said that he doesn't want to call it a rebuild if they bring in a new young head coach. That might take a year or two to implement what he wants fully in terms of scheme and coaching staff. He said, quote, "Whether you call it a rebuild or not, I don't like that word very much. We'll try to compete day one if we can. I'm not sure why you waste a year of your life not trying to contend. You put yourself in a position to contend every year. Some years you have the horses, some years you don't. Ugh. That kind of, for me, took the wind out of the sails a little bit because isn't trying to contend every year and not having the horses necessarily every year, the biggest horse of them all being a franchise quarterback, isn't that philosophy kind of what got us in this situation in the first place of going a decade without a playoff win? If we have to take a step back, have a 5-win season or two here, I'd be quite all right with that. But apparently, to Art here, that's not on his mindset whatsoever. So we can get our hopes up when the time comes if the Steelers hire a up and coming new head coach, a bright guy, mid-30s, mid to late 30s, early 40s, something like that, who comes from a McVay or Shanahan tree. We can get excited if that type of things happen. But according to Rooney, if things don't go right immediately, he's not going to be all that happy. He wants to keep contending here, and I hope that doesn't put any unnecessary pressure on the new head coach, whoever that would be. The last thing that Rooney had that I took note of from his press conference, his final characterization of the Mike Tomlin era, his quote here: "It's been a winning area. It's been a winning era, as I said before, always in contention. So I think when you start with that, you have the opportunity to take the next step. I can't explain kind of the more recent history there. It's hard to explain given the overall track record. Frustrating for all of us, mostly for Mike, but all in all, I'll take being in contention every year and having a shot at it." Again, he did overall a good job explaining that. Frustrating, especially recently, yeah, but for the most part, you did see a good bit of success with Tomlin here, but being in contention every year, again, he reiterates that at the end. Not sure if that's the appropriate mindset, just pushing your chips further and further into the table. Sometimes it's just, able to cut your losses and walk away and, come back another day when you're better equipped to handle the task here. But again, not in the, not anywhere in the psyche of Art Rooney II to do that. After that, Rooney's press conference talking about Tomlin, talking about the next steps. The Steelers coaching search indeed has begun. Yesterday, Wednesday, late Wednesday, and then a few more trickled in yesterday. We got our first batch of candidates for the Steelers head coaching job. The first interview request that was announced by Adam Schefter: LA Rams passing game coordinator, Nate Scheelhaase. Oh my God. Immaculate name. Yinzers, you're going to love it. Scheelhaase. I'm not sure how you pronounce it, but just telling you, Yinzers. I got a bit of a Yinzer accent. Scheelhaase. That is going to be absolute gold for Yinzers all around. So Scheelhaase, he was the first guy that the Steelers want to take a look at. After that, Scheelhaase, just a tiny bit on him. Passing game coordinator for the Rams, Sean McVay out there in LA. He absolutely loves this guy. Says he is a key component to what the Rams do offensively. He might be just as important as their actual offensive coordinator out there, drawing up their passing plays. It's one of the more dynamic passing attack units in the NFL. Scheelhaase, he is the leader of that group. The second person that the Steelers requested for an interview, this guy, I think Steelers Nation has as their sentimental favorite right now, Chris Shula, Rams defensive coordinator. Of course, Shula should ring a bell to that name should ring a bell for every football fan. Grandson of the all-time winningest head coach in NFL history, Don Shula, Chris Shula, Rams DC. Bit of a slow start to the year for the LA Rams, but they really, really picked it up down the stretch. This year, LA Rams, 5th in points per drive, 6th in turnovers generated, 8th in sacks, and that comes with LA spending a near bottom of the league. As a matter of fact, might be dead last in the league, $62 million on defense. And this is a unit that has lost some big names over the years. Aaron Donald, Von Miller, Jalen Ramsey. They've lost a couple of other guys as well from their Super Bowl win, 3-4 years ago. So the Rams, DC, Chris Shula, he has done an outstanding job bringing in a ton of young guys through the draft and getting the best out of them. He definitely might, I think he is at the top along with Shieldhouse. They're kind of neck and neck right now for the top guy on my board. The other guys, real quick, that the Steelers are going to interview or at least have requested to interview: Miami Dolphins defensive coordinator Anthony Weaver. A bit of a down year down there in Miami, but their defense, I think, did stay fairly competitive, even though the roster that they built for that defensive side of the ball was straight ass, trading away Ramsey, getting rid of Christian Wilkins, all that good stuff. Some other names: Brian Flores, of course, former Steeler coach, linebacker coach under Tomlin, excuse me, went to Minnesota 2 years ago. Vikings defense has been outstanding under Flores. He's up for consideration for the job. Wouldn't mind that. Kind of maybe a tad below Shula and Shieldhouse in terms of, modern day, up and coming, always forward thinking coaches, but does bring that somewhat valued former head coaching experience. Panthers defensive coordinator Ajiro Evero, probably butchered his name. Panthers defense, one of the worst in the league last year. This year, of course, the Panthers made the playoffs. The Panthers defense was much better with him. Jesse Minter, you got Jesse Minter, LA Chargers defensive coordinator. He is a Mike Tomlin guy. Tomlin, if he were to go into that meeting with Art Rooney on Tuesday and say, "Hey, I'm packing up and leaving," but if I had to put out my recommendation for next head coach, it probably would be Jesse Minter. So Tomlin, that's his guy. Jeff Hafley, defensive coordinator for the Green Bay Packers. He also is, I think he was scheduled to interview today. I'll get to that in a second. I have the list right here. Hafley, of course, went to my alma mater, Pitt. I was an assistant there for some time, went to a couple other colleges, and then wound up with the Packers organization. Packers defense, they were all right. They were doing well this year, and then, of course, losing Micah Parsons and a couple other guys on that side of the ball, that will do you in, understandably. The last name, this one coming, I believe, late last night, the Steelers put in a request to interview offensive coordinator Kubiak. Now, got my hopes up, thinking, okay, let's go. Clint Kubiak, OC for the Seahawks, probably the brightest offensive mind out there on the market to be had, besides Shieldhouse. Turns out it's Clay Kubiak, which, not Clint, but hey, still is a good Kubiak. 49ers offensive coordinator, of course, the 49ers Shanahan tree. I'm not going to complain about that whatsoever. Shanahan speaks highly of him as well. When you have a offensive mind coach, waxing poetic about one of his coordinators, I'll take him for his word. So those are the names right now. Clay Kubiak of the 49ers, Jeff Hafley of the Green Bay Packers, Jesse Minter of the LA Chargers, Ejiro Evero of the Carolina Panthers. You then got Brian Flores of the Vikings, Anthony Weaver of the Dolphins, and then the two guys from the Rams, Nate Shieldhouse and Chris Shula. Of those, I believe, 8 guys that I counted, you got 6 who are defensive coordinators currently, 1 OC and 1 passing game coordinator. On a schedule here of who is meeting when with the Steelers today. Again, have not seen anything today. I'm going to check here in a moment the old Twitter timeline, see if the Steelers actually posted anything on this thing. Shula, Shieldhouse, and Halfley were scheduled to meet with the Steelers today. Halfley, don't know if that was in person or not. Shula and Shieldhouse, I would assume those were Zoom virtual interviews, seeing how the Rams are still in the playoffs, about to play the Bears this weekend. Jesse Minter, he is on the docket for tomorrow. That is Tomlin's guy. The rest of the guys, Weaver, Evero, Flores, Kubiak, no idea when those guys are going to interview yet. Have not seen anything on that. Still don't know if their requests have even been accepted yet. I do like that the Steelers are really quickly getting the two LA Ram guys, especially, out of the way. Shula and Shieldhouse, you want to get those guys into your building as soon as possible, because those two, maybe the most coveted set to be new head coach, first-time head coaches on the market. Shula, in addition to the Steelers, he is getting looks at from the Ravens. Those are on his docket. Also, the Cleveland Browns 2 days ago, they put in a request to meet with Shula. Shieldhouse, he got interviewed today, this morning, by the Browns, and then I think he went on to interview with the Steelers. So Shieldhouse was looked at by the Browns. Also, he is going to meet with the Ravens on Saturday. Minter, he was interviewed by the Ravens 2 days ago, and the Browns, they will be interviewing Minter coming up at some point. So of these 8 candidates, Shieldhouse, Shula, like to put Minter in there as well. Those guys are the most sought after by other teams other than the Steelers. And these 8 candidates, as Jerry Dulac said as well, this is just the start for the Steelers. They are expected, according to Dulac, to add 3 or 4 more names. Could that be maybe if they don't like what they see or hear from these new head coaches, then maybe could they add in a former head coach or two to their bag? Could they then say, all right, we met with the one Kubiak brother, maybe we interview the other one, Clint? I don't know, but sounds like this is just the beginning of the Steelers. Hopefully it is the beginning of maybe they get their top guy. Hopefully a Shula or a Shieldhouse, I would like to think, is at the top of their board. And hopefully they get something done soon, because the Steelers, history, looking at history here, they don't wait around for their guy to get taken off the board. They hired Chuck Knoll on January 27th. They hired Bill Cowher on January 21st, and then they hired Mike Tomlin on January 22nd. So we are looking at around a week, maybe 2 weeks, between now and when the Steelers normally hire their head coaches, which we don't have all that much precedent to go off of here. So just looking at the history of things here, the track record, that is what that's telling us. Told you we get back into talking about the Steelers. The rest of the coaching staff, Art Rooney said that coaches currently on staff would not be getting any consideration for the head coaching job. Turns out, according to Jerry Dulac as well, of now I think formerly the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, Dulac said that all of Tomlin's assistant coaches have been notified they are free to pursue other opportunities and won't be retained unless the new head coach wants them to stay. The same goes for the strength and conditioning staff, which I think I've been near one of the top Steeler fans out there as to saying, can we get a new strength and conditioning staff? I mean, geez, TJ Watt's lung gets punctured. Russell Wilson damn near tears a calf pushing a blocking sled first day of training camp. Constant soft tissue injuries year after year. So new strength and conditioning staff, much needed here. But the rest of the coaching staff, they are being told to go seek employment elsewhere as well. At least some won't have all that much trouble. Arthur Smith, Steelers OC, he is going to be interviewing, I believe, with the Arizona Cardinals and Tennessee Titans for their head coaching vacancies. Also, the Detroit Lions put in a request for Smith to interview for their vacant offensive coordinator position. So Smith could be going to Tennessee, his old stomping grounds, out to Arizona, or he could be staying in a lateral move, just going up to Detroit. And then concepts, you mentioned it earlier, the other Smith that we do not want to see go here, the Smith that we least want to leave Pittsburgh, Danny Smith. He today had a virtual interview with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for their vacant special teams coordinating position. 72 years old, 13 seasons in Pittsburgh. Danny Smith, big old bazooka bubble gum munching Danny Smith. Could he be going down to warmer climates? I hope not. I cannot imagine. It's hard to imagine a Pittsburgh Steelers team, at least for my generation, not coached by Mike Tomlin, but hey, we're going to see what that looks like here soon enough. It's just as crazy to picture a Steelers special teams unit not ran or coached by Danny Smith. So hopefully Smith doesn't go to a new team too hastily, and from the new head coach, I would say see Danny Smith and immediately say, hey, that dude there is a slam dunk keep. Not just because, the special teams unit of the Steelers has constantly been one of the better units in the league. I think I can say that and it not be a super biased take here. But also, if you're a new coaching staff coming in, you got a roster that really, really loved the former head coach. You kind of want to keep a few guys around, a few positional coaches to maybe help, keep the group at bay, keep them engaged until the new coaching staff, the new people that come in make their imprint. So guys like Danny Smith, Carl Dunbar on the D line, Eddie Faulkner, the running backs coach, guys like that, just keeping a few familiar faces who are still outstanding at their job. Keeping a few of those guys around, I think would do well. But I mean, hey, we will see. So that's the latest of the massive news for the Steelers. We'll get into the team, the players that I just mentioned, and their reactions to Mike Tomlin saying he was going to step down on Tuesday. We'll get into that here in a moment. But the latest of the big news, Rooney thanking Tomlin, said he was willing to take another shot at things with Tomlin, whether he would have picked up the option for 2027 or not. Said that he and Omar Khan will lead the search for the new head coach, that no current coach on the Steelers staff will be getting consideration for the job. And right now, the Steelers, eight names, maybe even 9, if I'm miscounting, candidates on the list of the Steelers to interview for their head coaching vacancy. I think Shieldhouse, Shula, Flores, those guys, if I had to guess, they're at the top of the list right now. All right, ladies and gentlemen, 20 of you in here. I think I was looking at the viewership counter over here. We even bounced up near 30 during that initial segment. So I appreciate all of you stopping in and getting your comments in. We're going to go to the comments section here in 1 second. But before I do that, just let me indeed real quick take a quick stroll through Twitter. Do we have any sort of update or confirmation that the Steelers did get those interviews done today with Shieldhouse, Shula, and who was it? Was it Halfley? Do we have any confirmation that those happened? There are a few other candidates that the other division rivals of the Steelers, the Browns and Ravens. There are a few other candidates that those guys have interviewed that the Steelers have not yet. We'll cover those as well a little bit later on in the show. Not seeing anything here on those interviews being confirmed that they happened today. We'll see though. I mean, you have the Ravens and the Browns putting out there, oh, we completed an interview with this coach. Thought the Steelers would do the same thing, but Who knows? Maybe they aren't. Going back here to the comment, apologize if I do not pop up a few of your comments. They're going to try to get through most of these as well. Got a whole bunch of viewers coming in here over the past little bit. Most of the commenters, reoccurring viewers, Truth, Tyrone Keaton, welcome back. Truth in here. Got Flacco in here as well somewhere, I believe. Thank you guys for all coming back. Thank you also for the kind comments over the past few days while I was out sick. See, where do we leave off here? Let's start here with CWC Ryder again, our newest member of the channel here. TJ on the trade block for some high picks. Has that ship sailed? Love TJ, but a Parsons haul would have been nice. Yeah, you're not gonna get even close to a Micah Parsons haul for TJ Watt, in my opinion. I think even latest reports, you maybe topping out a second round pick for TJ. I mean, wrong side of 30, coming off of, by his standards, a below average production year. Just got, a raise as well, $41 million, because he had to beat Myles Garrett in terms of, millions made per year here. So TJ, believe there's a comment from his past also coming up right about now saying he doesn't want to play for any coach, any other coach besides Mike Tomlin in his career. Well, now you're at a crossroads, TJ. You either do, or you're going to have to, you either don't play for another coach and quit football, or you go and you play for another coach after all. So could TJ be on the trading block? Do the Steelers, would they do that? I don't think so, unless the head coach thinks Watt isn't going to fit into his plans or scheme. Even then, I still think it's a long shot that the Steelers will want to trade him. Could Watt request out, though? That's another thing. Depends right now. Watt on the trading block, I don't know. High picks, like a Micah Parsons return, you're not going to get those. I don't think so. Concepts here. Thank you, Coach T, for regularly overachieving based on roster talent at important positions and Colbert's sabotage. True statement there, Concepts. He did overachieve with the roster. Colbert does deserve a good bit of the blame, but also let's not act like Tomlin isn't absolved from sin in how the roster has been constructed over the past few years, especially on the back end of Big Ben's career. Blatt's on top here. Welcome, Blatts. Firing Danny Smith sucks. Well, the Steelers, they did not fire him. Danny Smith is still here, and I think that's just giving respect to the new coach. When he comes in here, you don't want to step on his toes, saying, hey, this is the coaching staff that we had. If you want to bring anybody back, please do. They didn't fire Danny Smith. They're just going to let the new head coach pick his coaching staff. Danny Smith, again, just said it a few moments ago. I'll say it again. He is slam dunk 100%. If I had to pick one guy on the coaching staff that the Steelers had last year to bring back, it is him. He is probably the best out of all the position coaches and coordinators on the team. He is probably pound for pound the best at his job from last year's staff, and also lovable guy, well respected in the locker room. Players love him. He'll keep things lighthearted, keep the morale up in the room while a new coaching staff comes in. So I do hope they bring back Danny Smith. Just time will tell. Time will tell if that comes to fruition here. Tyrone Keaton in here. Cut Jonnu, cut PQ, structure Jalen Ramsey, DK Metcalf, and TJ. That is a lot of contract work Omar Khan has to do there. Cut Jonnu. Glad you put that thing number one. I think that is an easy thing to make. I could, go in there with zero knowledge on constructing an NFL roster. I can go in there and make that move easily on the first day here. Cut Patrick Queen. We'll see. People are making a big fuss about Patrick Queen, if he'll stay and go now, because he was a big Tomlin guy. For DK, TJ, Jalen Ramsey, not sure if you're going to restructure DK's contract. Just 1 year into it. Ramsey, I think he just got an extra year tacked on to his contract, so not sure how he's going to view restructuring, and same thing with TJ. So not sure how the restructures go. The cuts might be more of a realistic thing to happen there. A couple of you voicing in your opinions on who you want to be head coach. Tyrone here saying, I want Chris Shula. There's another guy here, Mike Irwin, earlier as well, saying, I want Shula as well. Again, Shula, he is near the top of my list of who I would want, and he does fit the Steelers' ideal coach type, young defensive mind, but we'll see if that pans out. Let's see what else we got going on here. Concepts here. Yes, sir. Pay JPJ and Herbig. JPJ is top 3 and needs to be locked down. JPJ, he is easily the first order of business after cutting Jonnu Smith. He is easily the first order of business to lock him up on a extension. Played out of his mind, cut down on the penalties, still has that streak of not allowing a touchdown against him. So, yep, peasy, easy. Herbig, think that's a pretty easy re-sign as well. There's a couple of other guys you can talk about as well. Keanu Benton, maybe I know he'll be heading into his third year. Heading into their third year, I should say. Maybe you can start negotiating with one of your young offensive linemen, Frazier, Falatanu, even Mason McCormick, those guys on the right side of the line. Tons of guys you can talk about here for contract extensions out of their rookie deals, but JPJ and Herbig, nobody's going to top those guys. Truth here. Tomlin set records for playoff futility, losses by double digits, losses in a row, outscored in the first quarter. Yeah, Truth. As much as, we can go back, and we're going to do it here in a moment, talking about Tomlin and all the success he had, the playoff struggles, enough becomes enough, might not be the most popular decision according to, national media out there and fans from other teams, and even some fans still in Steelers Nation here. But was it a move that needed to happen? Moving on from Tomlin, I think we hit the ceiling here, and I think that it was a move that everyone is sad that had to be made, but it had to be made. Porter locked down, but he got like T-hands, LOL. Well, neither did, who is it? Ike Taylor. Ike Taylor didn't always have the interception prowess and all that, but he was still locked down. So Porter, as long as he is preventing touchdowns and preventing big plays, I'm not going to harp on him, getting an interception too much. Leave that to the other 4 or 5 guys in the secondary. Looking here, seeing if there's any other comments. Flacco here, welcome back, Flacco. Still depressed. They don't have to look for this. They don't have the look for this Steelers team. Gonna miss our face of the team. You get that, Flacco, but one thing that I've been agreeing with here over the past few days since Tomlin stepped down, that not many people, can see the difference of anymore, and now they fortunately are going to be forced to get back to seeing this. The Steelers, as an organization, one of the best, the best franchise in NFL history. And the franchise and all the success and history that it had, it's bigger than one man. And I think we were getting to a point here as well where people out there were viewing Mike Tomlin as bigger than the Steelers. The coach was becoming a bigger enigma and profile than the team itself here. And now that he is stepping down, we're going to get back to, hey, this is the Pittsburgh Steelers, not the Pittsburgh Tomlins. We can love the coach. You can call him the best coach in franchise history. Wins, regular season wins for the organization may tell you that here, but it is time to get back to the Pittsburgh Steelers being viewed as a team rather than just one guy getting all the attention here, if that is making any sense. Don't mean to degrade or take a shot at Tomlin here, but definitely it is time for this team to get back to what the Pittsburgh Steelers are supposed to be, what they were known for. Go in here to the comments again. Alan Olive in here. Welcome, Alan. All interviewing the same coaches. You definitely are seeing a ton of the same coach being interviewed by pretty much every single team looking for a head coach right now. I think that's just teams casting a pretty big net. I think the Tennessee Titans, and is it the Miami Dolphins? I think those two teams are holding the record for most head coaches, most candidates interviewed so far here. Steelers, they aren't going to catch up to them, but they get into that 8 to 12 range where they are right now in terms of candidates, and find the right guy. I think they can do that without needing to go out and interview every single candidate under the sun here. Truth here, Caleb Johnson and Roman Wilson have a new lease on life. Yeah, I mean, if Tomlin was here, I think you could cast off Caleb Johnson and Roman Wilson's Steelers career, but who knows? New head coach comes in here right now. Maybe they say, hey, when I was with my old organization and you were coming out of the draft, I wanted my team to take you so that I can coach you. Now I'm here. I'm your head coach. I'm going to give you a shot here. So maybe that's the case, that Johnson and Wilson get a new look now. Who knows how the roster is going to shake out and get adapted now. Need a big picture person for head coach, says Truth. Someone with vision, doesn't get mired by details, hires capable coordinators and assistants, sticks to the plan. I think you're talking about a CEO head coach, something that I thought Tomlin needed to be, because as much as we love Tomlin and his passion for the game, it felt like he was micromanaging at times, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Felt like the coordinators that he hired, they were average at best to subpar. He didn't hire any, up and coming forward thinking coordinators that he could just watch from a distance, let them do their work, make the macro decisions. Instead, Tomlin felt like he had to have his finger on every minute aspect and detail of the team here. Hopefully the next coach is able to put a little bit of faith and trust in the guys he brings in and let them do their jobs here. CWC Rider here. Wish they keep the running backs coach too. Agreed. Just trying to think of all the positional coaches out there that, just from vibes and how they've done alone and how their position groups have done alone, that I would like to keep. Eddie Faulkner, running back coach, is one. I think Zach Azzani, yeah, he can stay. I guess the wide receiver coach. Alfredo Roberts, tight ends coach, he was solid. Offensive line coach Pat Meyer, I think, even though the offensive line took a step this year, one year doesn't wash out the 4 to 5 previous bad years, in my opinion. D-line coach Carl Dunbar, I would like to retain him. Seems like a solid coach that's going to continue developing Derek Harmon, Keanu Benton, Y.A. Black, with Cam Hayward on the back nine of his career. And then Danny Smith, special teams coordinator. Would love to keep him as well. Looking here, seeing what other comments you guys got coming in here. Guys getting in a lot of stuff here. Conversation turned to James Harrison here for some reason in the comments section. True Thong here. Please, no more old washed vets. Hoping that that's not the case. Hopefully we don't need to go for another off season where our big free agent acquisition is Darius Slay, who's here for half a year and then gets cut. And who the hell knows where Darius Slay is right now? Last I saw from him, claimed off of waivers by the Bills, doesn't show up, said he was contemplating returning to play or retiring. Then, while the Bills wildcard weekend were down in Duval playing the Jaguars, he was back up in Philly on the sideline walking around pregame for his Eagles before they took on the 49ers. So I don't know what Darius Slay is doing right now. Guys talking about the Cowher era in the Super Bowl now. Ben and Mendenhall sold the second one, just like O'Donnell sold for Cowher. Talking about Super Bowl 45 with Tomlin, and then O'Donnell selling for Cowher. Yeah, the Mendenhall fumble. Not a good memory there. Seeing if got any other stuff here. Rands is back in here. Welcome, Rands. Crazy season coming. Still surprised. Coach retired 1 year short of possible 20, but last several playoff blowouts. It's time for change. Yeah, I wonder if the playoffs, if the fan angst, and he said it was a family decision. Rooney said that's what Tomlin told him. All those things, I guess, regardless of how many wins you have, how many seasons you have or are going to have under your belt. Sometimes that stuff just takes a toll, and you gotta call it quits and take a step back. But definitely a crazy, probably the craziest offseason for the Pittsburgh Steelers is ahead here, Rands. That's a good observation by you right there. Seeing if there's a whole bunch of other comments from you folks in here. Another comment here from Rands. I remember everyone critical of Slash at quarterback, Cordell Stewart. Guys, reliving all the past playoff glories of the Steelers. Something that we can't speak all that fondly of in recent memory. A comment, my dad in here. Glad to have everybody back here together today after the past 2 days off. Okay, keep those coming comments. Excuse me. Keep those comments coming, folks. Gonna keep things moving along real quick here. Let me pop that back up there. Gonna keep things moving along here. Let's get into the second top story that I wanted to talk about today. You guys can keep talking about what you want. Real quick, back into the Steelers and Tomlin's decision to step down. Wanted to talk about this story from Mike DeFabo of The Athletic. He covers the Steelers. Somehow, might have been through the locker room interviews with the team before the departure of Tomlin was announced at 2:00 on Tuesday. He got reactions and quotes of exactly what happened when Tomlin told the team he was stepping down. And these are quite jarring, and it tells you how much love and respect that the players had for Tomlin. DeFabo's story talks about how Tomlin began his meeting with the team, gathered all the players in the locker room. Tomlin basically said that he was stepping down. He said that he thinks it was best for the organization for him to step down. And that is when everyone just completely broke down. You had Rodgers. He was sobbing. Aaron Rodgers, 42-year-old, four-time MVP, constantly over and over and over again saying that he was sorry to Tomlin, saying that he was not good enough. You had TJ Watt. He was welling up with tears, just constantly repeating, almost as if he was a tape recorder on repeat, saying no, 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 no. Joey Porter Jr. apparently was hyperventilating, just almost like a funeral, surreal scene and environment to be in there in that Steelers locker room when that news came down, that when Tomlin told them that he was stepping down. So obviously hit this group hard. Tomlin, when he finished his speech, was very cool. Every player in the room rose for a standing ovation. They then went over one by one, shook hands, hugged Tomlin, told him face to face how much he meant to them. So the departure of Tomlin really like an earthquake shaking the Steelers locker room, and understandably so. I mean, players, coach, really gets to know each and every single player on an individual level. So it really shook each and every one of them, almost like a father figure. Tomlin was to every single player in that room. Besides the players and their reactions in the locker room, more players took to social media. Patrick Queen yesterday, or a few days ago, said, thank you to Tomlin, saying, quote, he gave me an opportunity to lead on Instagram. Queen also is being like not under, question, I guess, being looked at intently by Steelers fans right now. Queen today posting some gifs to his Twitter that no one knows what exactly they mean. Could it mean he's leaving? Could it mean that he knows who the new head coach is? I don't know, but something to keep an eye on for Patrick Queen. Steelers special teams captain Miles Killebrew. Cheers to a phenomenal run, coach. It's been an honor. Kenneth Gainwell, appreciate you so much, coach. Nick Herbig posting him shaking hands with Coach T. Jonnu Smith, one of the greatest leaders indeed. Even it stretched to former players. Ben Roethlisberger, Coach T got to spend 15 years together, and through the ups and downs, it was a great ride. Here's to the next chapter, whatever that looks like. You're a legend, one of the greatest to do it. Brett Kiesel, thank you, Coach T. It was an honor to play for you and learn from you. We will always be family. Love you, Coach. So, one thing's for sure, fans, they say one thing about Coach T, the other for players out there. Tomlin, he was one of one and one of the best coaches and people that you will ever encounter. Honestly, I can say so as well. Tomlin, great person. Met him one time at a Pirates game with my family. Outstanding dude. And again, hopefully with time, we'll look back and remember all the success Tomlin had here. Super Bowl championship and Super Bowl 42 Super Bowl appearances, 8 AFC North titles, never having to lose in season. But right now, again, regardless of what the players think here and how they feel, a change just had to be made, and felt like the hamster was just running around and around and around, never getting off of that wheel in the cage there. So, yeah. Thank you, Coach T. One thing about this DeFabo story that I do want to address. Some players, they said, they were saying stuff along the lines of Coach T didn't deserve this. It wasn't his fault. It was our fault. There were even some players upset with the coordinators. Well, one thing I want to point out here, the overall vibe of the players not blaming Tomlin. Instead, blame was being cast on the coordinators, and also some blame was being thrown our way towards the fans who are being critical of him and his playoff success. Two things I want to address with that. Firstly, them subtly, not subtly, whatever, coming at us fans. One, most of you players here, you haven't accomplished anything for this team in however many years you've been here. The people that have had playoff experience and success and Super Bowl experience and success, they've only been here for a year, maybe two at most. So I don't want to hear, you coming at us for being upset at playoff failures when you've been the main contributor to that. Also, pushing a decade here with without any playoff win. Is Tomlin a nice guy? Yeah. Is the regular season success all nice and dandy? Yeah. But when it's time for the rubber to meet the road here, it's just not happening. And then for them going at the coordinator saying, it wasn't Tomlin's fault, it was the coordinators. Again, and I say this to anybody else who says, to everyone else who says, well, look at the roster and the coaching staff Tomlin has to deal with. He's overachieving in spite of them. Who do you think hired the coaching staff? If Tomlin would have, hired if he would have hired an up and coming coordinator from the McVay or Shanahan tree, if he would have gone out and let's just go back a couple of years. If he would have kept Brian Flores instead of bringing in Terrell Austin, then we wouldn't have had this problem. Maybe we would have had a playoff win or two besides then. So they are pointing fingers, to the fans calling out Tomlin and the coordinators. I'm just saying them pointing the fingers. It's not 100% justified or correct in this stance. So that's my thoughts and views on that. Understandable that they are shaken up and upset that this father figure that they've had for however many years is now stepping away, and they're going to need to, especially for TJ Watt and Cam Hayward and those many others who have only known Steelers football for most of their career. They're now going to need to adapt to a new coach and a new voice, and hopefully they're able to shake off the sadness of losing Tomlin and be able to adapt to that here sooner rather than, later and it be too late into next season. All right, back to the comments section here. Still around 20 of you hanging in here. You guys just blowing up the comment section. I absolutely love and respect that. New comment coming in here. Lightning Rod, welcome back, Lightning. I predict the Green Bay defensive coordinator. That's not a bad prediction. Jeff Hafley, DC for the Packers, has experience with Pittsburgh, was an assistant at my alma mater, Pittsburgh Panthers. So he does know Pittsburgh and does know how to coach up a defense that does have a good bit of money getting put into that side of the ball. Had Micah Parsons and all those guys up there in Green Bay before they got injured. One thing that I do take pause of with Hafley is that his side of the ball, the Packers defense, once they lost Micah Parsons and a few other guys due to injury, they completely shut down, and then they went into a terrible tailspin and a losing streak to end the season. So that's something that I have a little bit of hesitation with him. Once your side of the ball was hit with some adversity in terms of injuries, then everything just fell apart. Meanwhile, you look at another team still in the playoffs right now, the San Francisco 49ers. You're not seeing Robert Saleh and the 49ers defense down Nick Bosa, down Fred Warner, even though they could be getting him back, down a whole bunch of other people. That defensive side of the ball is still humming along. So I would like to see whatever coach comes in here, if they were a coordinator, say, hey, look, when my group lost X and X player, we still were a well-oiled machine and continued moving along. A guy who's close to that the Steelers are looking at right now, Chris Shula, mentioned it earlier. The Rams, they lose Aaron Donald. They lose Jalen Ramsey, trade him away. Von Miller, they lose a couple of other veterans on that defense as well, including guys who they lost to injury this year. And they have been taking guys that you barely heard of or haven't heard of before and sliding them in there. And the Rams defense has still been performing pretty well. And I do not take any, sort of stock in their performance against the Panthers from last weekend on Super Wild Card weekend. So I'm more looking at Shula there, but Hafley, not a bad defensive coordinator. I do think that Omar Khan and Art Rooney do take some stock into him having experience being in Pittsburgh. But yeah, Hafley and the Packers defense falling apart when they had injuries. That does give me hesitation. It's not like also the Steelers defense that he would be inheriting hasn't been it's not like they've been the most healthy group year in, year out here. Looking here at some of the other comments you guys got coming in here. Jason Whitlock spoke on Tomlin not giving a goodbye press conference, and that is that it was weird. Yeah, I mean, didn't give a farewell press conference like Bill Cowher did. I think Chuck Noll did a farewell press conference as well. But hey, Tomlin's his own guy here, and I'm sure he would have been faced with many uncomfortable questions from the wild card game the night before and the fans chanting, if that had anything to do with his decision. I think he, earned the right to, avoid those types of things and just sort of slide off, and then he'll address that when maybe some of the noise has died down around him. Looking at some of your guys' other comments there. Again, appreciate the comment section getting tons and tons of action here tonight. Appreciate it. Let's go for some other comments here. Seen a story recently that people close to Tomlin's inner circle say he was hinting before the season even started that this may have been his last season. Agreed. I mean, Dad, you and I, we've talked about this off camera, and I said it on here. Tomlin, he is not the guy that's going to make a decision, by the seat of his pants. He's not going to make a decision in a split second. He, for more than we know, thinks meticulously about these things. And, him, I'm sure he thought about this for quite some time. And thankfully, the Steelers were able to at least be somewhat prepared for it. I mean, there was a report before the Steelers played the Ravens a few weekends ago that they were talking about, who the next head coach could be, if it was Shula or Marcus Freeman from Notre Dame. So maybe Tomlin even gave a hint to them without fully revealing his hand that he would be stepping down. At least the Steelers were prepared for it, and I think this was something that Tomlin was preparing himself for. See some of the other comments you guys got going on here. Sharing a practice facility, but passing on Dan Marino was a crime there for Mallet. I agreed. Yeah, do not remind that the greatest quarterback in my alma mater's history could have been a Steeler. Yeah, do not remind me of that. Robert Saleh knows what he's doing, says Truth. Yeah, I mean, Saleh definitely starting to come back into my attention span here as a guy who could be a legit head coaching candidate. Might have been just that the New York Jets are a dumpster fire infected with disease that he didn't succeed there. It might be the Jets more than him as the problem there in New York. Might be probably the same thing for Kevin Stefanski and him getting himself the hell out of Cleveland. So seeing what Saleh's doing with that defense right now that they're producing with all that's going on that side of the ball, definitely worth a look at, in my opinion. Surprised Saleh's not being interviewed, says Truth. Never know. Jerry Dulac, again, did report that this is the first 8 or 9 for the Steelers. They still will have a few more that maybe trickle in over the weekend, early next week, something like that. They are just getting the initial batch out of the way to get a baseline of, what candidates they like, what they don't like, and then they'll go for there. Harmon may be a top 3 first rounder from last year's draft. Was a great pick, and that's exciting. Khan has been mostly great so far in my eyes. Agreed concepts. I mean, say what you will about this, whatever's going on with third-round picks, Roman Wilson, Caleb Johnson, but yeah, Derek Harmon, he was worth every single bit of that, 21st overall pick? Steelers have that same pick, by the way, in this year's draft. Would definitely make that pick again for Derek Harmon 10 times out of 10. Maybe you can put in the comments if you would have taken someone else, like maybe someone will bring up Jackson Dart or something. Too many concussions for me to think about Dart right now. Might have been, better to take Dart had you known Rodgers would have been one and done and Tomlin would be out the door. But Harmon looking right now like he is going to be on the trajectory of what we think he can be, a more than suitable replacement for Cam Hayward when Cam hangs up the cleats here in the next few years. See some other comments that we got going on here. Let's keep it clean in the comment section. I'm just seeing some things passing by here. Don't know if they're in good taste or not. Lightning here. There are rumors that the Steelers owner and GM asked Tomlin to get rid of a coordinator, and Tomlin said no. Tomlin then asked if he was getting a contract extension, and they answered no. Not sure why Tomlin would put up it. Again, that is just a rumor. There's no concrete reports of that happening. Don't see why Tomlin would make such a big fuss about getting rid of a coordinator. I mean, geez, how could you really defend Omar or why am I blanking? Arthur Smith in the way the offense performed down the stretch, or Terrell Austin, and why the defense was so hot and cold with him next year. But then again, now I remember he did take forever to fire Matt Canada. So maybe that's true. The second thing, though, I think might have ticked off Tomlin more than, being asked to get rid of a coordinator. The contract extension. I mean, we do know Tomlin had this season coming up left on his contract, plus an option to be picked up for 2027. Maybe they said no. Maybe they said, hey, we're not going to pick up your option for 2027. We want you to show a little bit more to us. Maybe he didn't like that, and then said, hey, I'm good. I'm just going to walk away now with my head held a little bit high, and I don't need to go into a laying duck season here. Seeing if there's anything else. Tomlin was from the Dungy tree, the Steelers connection. Both coordinators sucked last year. Indeed, truth. Indeed, they did. But new head coach coming in. Don't think we're going to need to worry about that problem anymore. There are a couple, minor coaches that we would want to keep on, yes, but if it means, if we have to, get rid of a few minor coaches, as much as we love Danny Smith, if it means making sure we don't get Arthur Smith or Terrell Austin back again, I think I may make that trade-off. And I love Danny Smith, to hell him back here. Still hope they bring him back. Still would love to have Danny Smith back. Okay, 22 of you beautiful people in here on a Friday night. This stream going to go over an hour and a half. In fact, it is over an hour and a half by now. It's all right. Got a lot to talk about here. Taking another stroll here through Twitter while I am monologuing. Again, not seeing anything really on the Steelers confirming that those head coaching interviews happened today or not. I'm going to assume that they did, but we do not have 100% confirmation that Khan and Rooney sat down or talked with these people. One more comment here before we go into our last big segment of the evening before extra Pittsburgh sports news. Lance from Mon Valley, what is going on? Shout out from Mon Valley. Glad to see. Hope you are feeling better and feeling better. Like I said, about the 80 to 85% range. Had no energy yesterday. Wednesday was sick as a dog, but today, hey, we're back talking Pittsburgh sports. That'll make anybody feel better. Concepts here. One last comment before we get into the final big segment. Memory lane, Shazier's and Tuitt's unpredictable losses set the team back years and were impossible to overcome. Same with the Castro's random retirement. Insane adversity resembling Luck's retirement. Yeah, I mean, Shazier, nobody could see that coming. He was due for, a big payday that offseason or the offseason after that. The way he was playing middle linebacker was carrying on the lineage of Steelers, just having outstanding middle linebacker after outstanding middle linebacker. To it, what was it, a neck injury for him? He couldn't go any longer. I think those two things, and then we remember on top of that, the Steelers in the coming years after that, they let go of guys who were pretty key, more than people realize, to the defense, like Mike Hilton and Javon Hargrave. Those guys, they walked out the door as well. And Steelers, they didn't have much, draft-wise or free agency-wise to replace those guys after the fact. So, just memory lane. Not a good memory lane to travel back down there, concepts. All right, ladies and gentlemen, going to switch gears here. Let's get through real quickly the final big segment of the evening here, and then we will come back to Steelers football. Want to switch gears over to hockey. Since we last spoke, the Pittsburgh Penguins were on the ice twice for 2 games. One, not so good. The other, last night, though, was a sight for sore eyes. The way Pittsburgh sports had the way things went for Pittsburgh sports last weekend. The Penguins, since we last spoke, 2 games. On Tuesday, they took on the Tampa Bay Lightning in a clash of the Pens versus their old buddy Jake Gensel. The Pens lineups in that game, I don't think too much change from their previous game. Top line, Raquel, Crosby, Rust. Tommy Novak with the 2 Russians, Chinikov and Malkin. Third line, the 2 big bodies, Mantha and Brazo with the kid Kindle. And then the fourth line, of course, staying together. Second game, I believe that was without Erik Karlsson, or that might have been the first game, actually, Tuesday night. That was the first game without Erik Karlsson. He is still going to be on the shelf for at least 2 weeks with a lower body injury. So Chris Letang with Brett Kulak, Jack St. Ivany filling in for Karlsson with Parker Wotherspoon, Ryan Shea, Connor Clifton as the third pairing. This game for the Lightning, I'm going to keep the recap short and sweet because there was not much to talk about. First period was just absolutely horrendous for the most part for the Penguins. They got dominated by the Lightning. They did get a little bit of momentum on the power play, but were stopped by the outstanding Andrei Vasilevsky in the opposition net. Nothing after the first period. Second period, again, offense, nowhere to be seen for either of these teams. Instead, it was kind of, you're watching it, is it we're seeing bad offense, or is it just that the goaltenders are doing that well? It was hard to tell, but the Penguins definitely didn't help themselves. They were passing up a good bit of shot chances when the rare times they got those chances. So the game went scoreless into the third period. Third period actually had a little bit of action, wasn't on the score sheet, though. Connor Clifton railroading Brandon Hagel into the boards. Multiple Tampa Bay Lightning players go after him. He ends up dropping the gloves with Anthony Cirelli. That whole skirmish with Cirelli, they both fight each other. They both get 5 minutes for fighting. Clifton gets a 5-minute major for a boarding call, but then Cirelli, he gets a 2-minute penalty for instigating and a game misconduct. So Cirelli watches his guy get absolutely demolished into the boards from behind. I will, stay unbiased. Clifton got him a little bit from behind. Cirelli watches his dude get destroyed, goes over, confronts Clifton, who is the more fighter, who is the better fighter out of the two. Cirelli ends up losing the fight, and then he gets the worst of the penalties out of it. So not a good thing there for Cirelli. There was good news for the Lightning, though. About midway through the third period, Artur Shalovs made a save with his glove. Looked like he had it trapped in his glove. I think he thought it did. There was a good 2.5-second span where it looks like Shalovs has it in his glove. All the players around him stop. Then all of a sudden, the puck just drops onto the ice in front of Shalovs. A defenseman, J.J. Moser for the Lightning, comes skating on by, just pokes it into the net. They call it a goal. No one knows why the hell the whistle wasn't blown. So that made it 1-0. We thought that was it. Offense has been a rarity to come by in this game. Thankfully, though, the Penguins were able to earn a point. Evgeny Malkin, with the empty net, 2 minutes, 15 seconds left to go, he finds a little bit of breathing room in the offensive zone, beats Vasilevsky, blocker side for the equalizer. Game goes to overtime, back and forth. One of the more electric overtimes without a goal I've seen in a while. For the whole 5 minutes of overtime on Tuesday, not a single whistle. It was fire wagon, constant rotation, back and forth hockey. It was quite entertaining. Chances for both squads. Game went to overtime. Predictably, the Penguins lost. Again, Artur Shalovs in a shootout, or game went to a shootout. Pens lost. Artur Shalovs shootout. So good in regulation and overtime. Just can't figure out what it is with him and shootouts. He lets in 2 goals compared to the Penguins being able to score 1. 2-1 the final on Tuesday. The Penguins now, most losses this season after regulation. The Penguins are tied for second place with the LA Kings at 10. So definitely got to get better in winning games when it goes beyond the initial 60 minutes. Heading into last night's game against the Flyers, the Penguins sent down forward Tristan Brose. They sent him back down to the AHL. Brose, by the way, congratulations to him and Sergei Murashov, 2026 AHL All-Stars. Thought because Brose got sent down that the Pens were going to get back Rutger McGroarty, who has been out with a concussion. He was in a white non-contact jersey back on Wednesday and even stuck around for that practice, but apparently did not get activated off of injured reserve. Pens ran back pretty much the same lineup last night, except Stuart Skinner was in net. Much better outcome for the Penguinis last night. Started off the game hot. I think within the first 45 seconds of the game, they got a power play, and they used pretty much all 2 minutes of that power play to get the game's first goal. First unit couldn't do anything. Second unit comes on a tic-tac-toe goal between Anthony Mantha to Ben Kindle to Justin Brazeau on the back door. Brazeau, his 13th goal of the year, continues to add on to a career high. Pens off and running 1-0. Shortly thereafter, Pens got another power play, and this time the first unit was able to cash in. Brian Rust buries it to make it 2-0. That was the score heading into the first intermission. Back for the second period, Pens had an odd man break the other way. The two Russians, this is what we thought these two were going to be capable of once Yegor Chinakhov was acquired via trade. Malkin gets sprung ahead. Chinakhov catches up. Malkin stops up, hits a streak in Chinakhov down the left side. He buries it on Sam Urson, the Flyers goaltender. Made it 3-0 Pens. The Flyers, they were able, about a minute or so later, to get another goal back, Rodrigo Abels. But the Flyers, they did commit to changing goalies. They put in a goaltender named Kolosov. Before the period ended, Noel Acciari, who he had a ton of motivation for this game. The Flyers pulling their bullshit back in Philadelphia, I think back in early December, with Trevor Zegras getting under Acciari's skin. Acciari did a thing that felt just as good as being able to punch Trevor Zegras. He was able to score. The fourth line of this Penguins team just continues to be maybe their best line. Dewar, Acciari, Lizotte, that unit, they are a well-oiled machine right now. Was 4-0 after two. Third period, we had another fight. Back-to-back games. The Pens had a scrap. Blake Lizotte lays a big hit on a Flyer rookie in the neutral zone. Matvei Michkov, one of the star players for the Flyers, ends up going after Lizotte. Lizotte dispatches of him pretty easily. Michkov gets a 5 for fighting. Lizotte gets a 5 for fighting as well. Michkov, 2 minutes for instigating, or for roughing, I think this as what they called it. So the Pens, they get a power play. Sidney Crosby death taxes him scoring against the Flyers. He buries the Pens' third power play goal of the night. Bravo to Blake Lizotte, by the way, for setting that up. Lays a clean hit on a guy in the neutral zone, then gets their star player to fight, takes him off the ice for 5 minutes, sets up the Pens' power play as well. Give Lizotte an assist on that Crosby goal. A little bit later, Tommy Novak to Connor Dewar on the back door, made it 6-1. Flyers were able to get some garbage time goals, but 6-3. The final score you see right there on your screen. Overall, an uplifting win that this city really, really needed. I mean, going back a weekend, the past 4 days or so before that game last night, you had the Pens losing both of their weekend games in a back-to-back against the Flames and the Bruins. The Steelers losing Monday night. The Pens again losing in overtime, or a shootout, to the Lightning on Tuesday. But hey, going belt to ass on your cross-state rival, a team that you hate the most above any other, that'll always feel sweet. And it feels doubly as sweet because now, looking at the standings, not sure if you've been paying attention to them beside my left shoulder during the live stream tonight, the Pens passing up the Flyers in the standings, they have now moved into third in the Metropolitan Division, so they are not holders of a wild card spot. Instead, they are in a division playoff spot. They are in third place right now, 1 point behind the second place team, the New York Islanders, and 6 points behind the Carolina Hurricanes, who are at 60 points. So the Pens, hopefully this win over the Flyers keeps them running hot, moving in the right direction. Their next game, I believe, is tomorrow night against the Columbus Blue Jackets. They'll be looking for another successful game against the Jackets. Remember, not too long ago, a few weeks ago, they beat the Jackets in overtime. Tomorrow night, the Jackets at 7 p.m. That is at PPG Paints Arena. Keep it going, Pittsburgh Penguins. All right, ladies and gentlemen, 21 of you still hanging around in here. Going to get into the extra Pittsburgh sports news segment where we recap all the loose end stories, but don't get too attached. Don't get too attached to many of them. They're not, big in the importance of news stories, or they're just small things that we talk about passing by. Before we do that, back to your comments, you guys. Just lighting up the comment section again. 52 comments in that, 5-minute span it took me to recap those Pens games. Crazy. You guys are going nuts. Keep it up. Guess those 2 days off really, you guys had a lot to get off your chest, just like me. Black Magic in here. Welcome, Black. Welcome back, Magic. Glad to have you here. Lance here. Prefer the 70s light blue as the Pens alternate uniforms. See, as much as, the 70s light blue is, as much as it was loved back then, I think the light blue kind of took a bit of a decline in popularity because pretty much any sort of blue sweater that the Pens wore, Sidney Crosby got injured in. Also, 70s Penguins, not a good time for the franchise. Pre-Mario era, those Pens teams tended to lose a lot. Also, believe, what was it? Michel Briere, former Penguin, who was said to be the Mario before Mario passing away. He was the first Penguin star. The light blue Pens uniforms, not as much good luck as for the Pens modern day as they were maybe back then. Magic in here also, kind of like Concepts and Flacco. Big Tomlin lovers and defenders here. It's all right, Magic. We'll get through it. Magic. Brighter days ahead. Do not, what's the saying? Do not cry for what is lost. Be happy that it happened. There, Magic. Alan Olive in here. A lumber company, but the big red machine was always in the way. Went to the second game at Three Rivers, first win against the Reds at Three Rivers. Talking about games past for Pittsburgh Pirates and Steelers. Again, I've said it on here on the channel before, was fortunate enough when I was a kid to be conscious and aware and remember games at Mellon Arena, which I miss the Igloo so damn much. Unfortunately, I keep, telling everyone, one thing I wish I was alive for, to just go to one game at Three Rivers. Seemed like a very magical place. Forbes Field was my best memories. Yeah, Forbes Field was also a good one as well. See what other comments we got going on here. CWC Ryder, what the hell is the Pens' problem when it goes to overtime? You tell me. Doesn't matter if, the opposition gets the puck off the opening draw in overtime, immediately goes down and scores, or if the Pens get possession and they have 5 to 7 cracks at the net in overtime, or a shootout. Especially the shootout's way worse than overtime. But I don't know. Once they go past that 60 seconds and it's no longer 5-on-5, there's some sort of curse on the Pens when it goes to extra innings in hockey. And it's not just this year. It's been going back the past couple of years now as well. Excuse me. Well, I let out a little cough there. All went through withdraw. Yeah, appreciate you guys. Appreciate that. It means that much to you. You guys mean a lot to me as well. Heard ESPN speculate a Malkin trade. Yes. No way. Do not listen to any of that national hockey media bullshit. It's all Canadian media driven stuff saying they're just waiting for the downfall of the Penguins. Look at these aging cores. It's like they're making an ASPCA commercial for Crosby, Malkin, and Letang saying, look at these veterans. Once so great flag bearers of the NHL. Now look at them. They're on a Penguins team going down the drain into a rebuild. Please get them out. We need to see them in the playoffs. Just chill. We're allowed to have a good thing and keep them here. They're allowed to be like Mario Lemieux and stay here forever. So don't buy it. Malkin trade, not going to happen. He's going to go into a meeting with his agent and Kyle Dubas here over the NHL Olympic break. And maybe there's an extension. Certainly the way he's performing this year. Gino, 39 years old. He is still producing and scoring out his ass right now. Malkin, he's an easy extension to a 1-year deal, something like that. But we'll see. Trade, no way. No way. Especially the Pens right now, they're third in the division. It would have to take them losing pretty much every single game from here to the trade deadline for them to even think of trading Malkin. And even then, it would have to be a blowaway offer, at least a first-round pick, maybe even another first, if not a second or something like that, a top prospect. It's going to be a lofty price tag for Gino. I don't care if he's just going to be viewed as a rental either. Looking at some of your other comments here. Yeah, Malkin playing solid. Again, 39 years old, and Gino is doing what he's doing right now. Let's go right here, real quick here. What's Malkin doing right here? Had a month or so off with injury, which understandably, he's 39 years old. He's not going to play all 82, but the way he's producing, he's come back from his injury, and it doesn't look like he's lost any of his scoring touch. Malkin, 39 years old, 34 points in 31 games, 10 goals, 24 assists, plus 8. You do not just trade that player with that production at that age just for the sake of trading him. So, yeah, ESPN, they're not watching this team, seeing what they're doing, seeing what's going on day by day. Don't take anything that they say as gospel. That's all I'm saying there. Didn't mean to get wound up about, national media saying stuff about the Penguins. Wouldn't be the first time that's happened here on this channel. Won't be the last either. Flacco here. So Tomlin tied Noel for regular season wins. That true? I think I saw a graphic that he was just one short from tying it. So I think it was 192 he was at. Noel's at 193. I thought he tied it, but I think I was getting confused him tying it with him trying to tie it first game next year. So I think Tomlin stopped just one shy of Noel. Just one shy. Don't get to see Pittsburgh teams often. I'm from Tampa Bay area over 50 years. Oh, hey, Flacco. You two should meet up. Got Flacco here. He's a Tampa Bay resident as well. Got 2 Tampa Bay natives here. If I had a nickel for every single time I had a Tampa Bay native Pittsburgh sports fan here on this channel, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's kind of crazy that it happened twice. 16 of you still in here. We're going to get into the extra Pittsburgh sports news here in one moment. Again, just a quick stroll here through Twitter, and then we will wrap things up for the night with the extra Pittsburgh sports news. Nothing, really nothing on the Steelers reporting, hey, we met with these guys. Trying to see, is there anything here from the Steelers? Just thought they would have put it out there. Then again, maybe they say, hey, our social media page welcomes all kinds of characters in the comment section, so maybe we hold off on that until we actually make a hiring. Who knows? We shall see. Anyways, extra Pittsburgh sports news for the day here. Told you we were going to get back into over the past couple of days, the extra Pittsburgh sports news. Back into the Pittsburgh Steelers. Back on Wednesday, the Steelers signed 13 players to reserve future contracts, and then they added 2 more players to the reserve future contract list yesterday. The 13 players that they signed to future reserve contracts right here on their website. Long snapper Cal Adamitis. I believe he was even on the practice squad and might have been elevated when Christian Kuntz was dealing with a knee injury in the last 2 games of the season. So he'll be back for probably a training camp next year or OTAs, something like that. Defensive tackle Kyler Baugh was on the practice squad for most of this season, was as well with the team in training camp this year. Receiver Cole Burgess. Defensive end Anthony Goodlow. He was brought in midway through the season on the practice squad. Defensive back Daquan Hardy, same thing. Defensive back Jack Henderson, same thing. Defensive end KJ Henry, same thing. All these guys being added to the practice squad at some point in the season. Receiver Max Hurlman, wasn't he the practice or the training camp darling or undrafted free agent from this past year? I believe he was a Notre Dame guy, or no, was he Notre Dame? Notre Dame or TCU, something like that. Anyway, jack of all trades type of guy. Offensive guard Stephen Jones as well. He was added to this reserve future contracts list. The other 2 that they added, or is that it? Is that the whole list? No, actually, there were more here. My bad. Stephen Jones is there. Running back Lou Nichols had a good preseason this year for the Steelers. Receiver John Reese Plumlee. Ooh, excuse me there. See? Told you. 85%. Receiver quarterback, dual threat John Reese Plumlee. He's here as well. Julius Welshoff, part of the Steelers, what is it? Their international free agent program or whatever. I believe he's from Germany. He will be back. And offensive tackle Aiden Williams. That was the initial list of reserve future players the Steelers added on Wednesday. The 2 others that they added yesterday, offensive lineman Doug Nestor. He was on and off the practice squad throughout the season. I think he had a decent preseason this past year. And also wide receiver Brandon Smith, who was with the New York Jets over the past 2 seasons. So congratulations to all of those gentlemen. We will see them in Latrobe here a little bit later on this year. One guy who we will not be seeing in Latrobe later on this year. We mentioned it near the top of the show. Congratulations on a hell of a career to Adam Thielen, even though he was here for, 7 games at most, 8 with the Steelers. He is calling it quits. 13-year career over for Thielen. Congratulations to him, even though he spent not even a full chapter of it with the Steelers. Back into the coaching cycle and all the head coaching vacancies around the league. One has been filled, and it is with a face we know too much. John Harbaugh, officially off the market. We talked about it, I think, passing by earlier in the show. He, not officially, but is scheduled to be signing with the New York Giants, and the deal reportedly will be for around 5 years, near $100 million. So Harbaugh in serious talks with the Giants, most likely going to end up there. He will be off the market. Also, I know the Ravens, they're in a similar boat with the Steelers. You know, they are without their old head coach, their old long-time head coach. They're going to bring in a new one. He's going to want to bring in his own staff. Who knows what members of the Ravens staff is going to stay there. One guy who probably won't and who might follow Harbaugh to New Jersey, apparently Todd Monken is said to be targeted by Harbaugh to join his staff. So offensive coordinator of the Ravens could be going to New York to be their offensive coordinator there as well. I know Monken has also been interviewed for at least one other head coaching job around the league somewhere. We shall see. Back to the Ravens, though. Besides the head coaching candidates that the Steelers have interviewed that they are also interested in. The Ravens, they have also done interviews with Browns defensive coordinator Jim Schwartz. Boy, wouldn't that be a kick in the nards of the Browns? Schwartz coaching one of the better defenses in the NFL. Now he's going to go join the enemy. Oh, good luck with that, Cleveland. Also, Mike McDaniel, he was interviewed today, or yesterday, excuse me, by the Ravens. Boy, wouldn't that be something? One of the more uncharismatic coaches in NFL history who, when he's asked a question, doesn't look like he can complete a thought, yet still brilliant offensive mind. Him going to the Ravens, and also his teams can't win in the cold. Wouldn't mind that being a match made in hell for the Ravens. The Ravens, one other guy that they are requesting to interview with. This one I do not like, that being 49ers defensive coordinator Robert Saleh. Not sure if we talked about that one here on the channel before or not, but yikes. Saleh and the Ravens. Not sure if that matchup would bode well for the Steelers. One former NFL coach coordinator who will not be getting a job in the NFL just so happens to be the former OC of the Pittsburgh Steelers, Todd Haley. Apparently, he is heading to the UFL to be the offensive coordinator for the Columbus Aviators. So congratulations to Todd Haley. I guess we can say the last beloved offensive coordinator of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Since then, it was Fiechner, Canada, and Arthur Smith. Not sure there's that much love compared to Haley between those three. Last two things here, extra Pittsburgh sports news wise for the Steelers. This was brought up today on 93.7 The Fan by Ray Fittipaldo. With Mike Tomlin now departing, Fittipaldo says there is now a 50% chance that Cam Hayward retires. His quote here, "I think that's on the table," said Fittipaldo. Wonders if Tomlin stepping down and bringing in a new head coach could change things for both the Steelers and Hayward. Honestly, would not be shocked in the slightest for Hayward. I would like Hayward to stay around because he did have a hell of a year, and also with a new head coach coming in, if some guys in the locker room, if it takes them a little bit to view the head coach as their leader and fully buy into what he's selling, they could be looking to the elder statesman of the players, which would be Hayward. So I hope he would he would stay around to continue to be that leader, because his leadership might be needed now more than ever. But Tomlin leaving, also Cam don't think he has any guaranteed money on his contract for this next season. Really fought for that in training camp this past season. Didn't work out for him. Now, seeing that he doesn't have any guaranteed money and a new coach is going to come in, does he want to learn a new system, get to learn a new coach? That's a lot for Hayward on his plate. Would not be. Do I think he's going to retire? Leaning 70% no, 30% yes. But would I be shocked if he retires? I would not be surprised by that in the slightest bit. The last thing on the Steelers, shout out to Mike Tomlin's wife, Kia. She made a statement through her fashion brand. I guess this is the closest thing we have to hearing from a member of Tomlin's family since his step down. She said in a part of her statement, quote, "I am incredibly proud of what he has accomplished both on and off the field," as is we are. I think we're all proud of Tomlin and what he did here as his time as head coach. Just unfortunately, things recently, they have taken a pretty bad turn for worse, not being able to even be competitive in a playoff game, let alone compete for a Super Bowl. Just had to be time. We still love Tomlin. We still thank him for all that he did, but just had to be time for a shakeup, in my opinion. Moving into another portion of the extra Pittsburgh sports news, this being the first time we bring up the Pittsburgh Pirates here this evening. The Pirates yesterday getting to work in, really, I guess this is their Super Bowl of the offseason, the international signing period for prospects all around the world. The Pirates, they really do some of their biggest big game hunting of the offseason in this period right here. They yesterday signing 25 international players. Going to go through all of their names right here, and then I'll hit on the most notable ones. Probably going to butcher a bunch of these too, so I apologize if any one of them or their family members come across this in the future. Jeanser Custodio, Wilton Guerrero Jr., keep track of that name, Derek Garcia, Dionis Leba, Agnello Jean, Neomar Urbina, Fernando Triana, Gilbert Hilbert, Alejandro Ramirez, Enrique Quintana, Enyerberth Guevara, Juan Andres Figueroa, Angel Gabriel Alvarez, Michael De La Cruz, Adrian Martinez, John Reynoso, Denison Rodriguez, Fraylin Rodriguez, Ronaldo Serrano, Fredere Solano, Carlos Tejera, Alexander Pio, Pietro Pires, Rothmane, Marchetti, Miguel Molina, and Angel Nieto. So those 25, the first batch of international signings that the Bucks made. Again, they really go big hunting in that period. Some of the big names that I wanted to mention there. The first name I mentioned, the first two names actually, Jeanser Custodio, 17-year-old from the Dominican outfielder. He is the number 7 of the top 50 international prospects according to MLB Pipeline. So the Bucks think this might be one of their highest international prospect signings in quite some time. Number 7 out of the top 50, one of the highest rated prospects out of the Dominican Republic that the Pirates have ever signed in a long time as well. So congratulations on getting him. This guy here, I'm really excited about. 16-year-old shortstop Wilton Guerrero Jr. Bucks paying big money to sign him, nearly $2 million to sign Wilton Guerrero Jr., number 17 in the MLB Top 50 International Prospects list. Wilton Guerrero Jr., keep track of the last name Guerrero, because yes, he is related, a part of the family tree of those Guerreros in MLB baseball. Vladimir Guerrero Jr., his dad Vladimir Guerrero, Wilton Guerrero Jr., a part of that family tree. So the Bucks getting some prestige in that young kid right there. Some other names here, just passing by. Rothmane Marchetti, outfielder from Cuba, just 13 years old. He left Cuba, and now years later, he gets to sign with an MLB organization. Very outstanding and awesome achievement for him. Alexander Pio, Dominican infielder, great athlete, explosive, great bat as well. Trained at the Jaime Ramos Academy, one of the better international prospect academies. And the last one I have here, Pietro Reinzo from Brazil, nephew of Andre Reinzo, Brazilian pitcher who reached the MLB with the Chicago White Sox. So congratulations to all of those Pittsburgh Pirates international prospects. Excited to hopefully see those guys climb up the minor leagues and reach the big leagues here. I won't put any timetable here. You're probably looking about 4 or 5 years down the line before any of these kids start to sniff the big leagues. But here's to hoping that their road to the big leagues are fast and successful. Speaking of road to the big leagues, excuse me there. Every road to the big leagues begins at spring training down in Bradenton, Florida. The Pirates 2 days ago announcing their spring training workout schedule. Coming up here on February 9th, World Baseball Classic pitchers and catchers will report for workouts. Of course, Paul Skeens, who will represent Team USA in the WBC, will be a part of that group. On February 11th, that is when the whole shebang starts to roll. Pitchers and catchers their first workout coming on February 11th. Then infielders and outfielders for the World Baseball Classic will be the day after that for their first workout. Full squad workouts begin on February 16th. And then shortly after that, I can't wait. I don't know why. I do this every year. I get hyped up for Pittsburgh Pirates baseball. Maybe it's them actually making a few moves this year, bringing in Ryan O'Hearn and Brandon Lau. Maybe that's getting me excited. But I always get excited for Pirate baseball. I don't know why, but I always do. This getting me excited seeing these dates get put out there. The Bucks also today announcing they have invited 7 new non-roster invitees for their big league camp in spring training. Some guys who have been with the organization before, some who have not. Catcher Omar Alfonso, infielder Deuce Gorson, catcher Sean Ross. I think those 3 have been in the minor leagues of the Pirates organization. 2 guys who have not been in the organization before, relief pitchers Noah Davis and Chris Stavensky. Those 2 just earlier this week or over the weekend getting signed to minor league contracts. The last 2 names, former top prospect of the Bucks, Termarr Johnson. Believe he's still in the top 10 of prospects for the Buccos. He is getting a non-roster invitee to spring training. And of course, the 7th and final non-roster invitee, a guy who might not be a non-roster invitee that much longer, could be on the opening day lineup card for the Buccos. Connor Griffin, unanimous top prospect in all of baseball. Last thing here, wrapping up on the Bucks for today. Back into what they're doing right now, or should I say what they should be doing in free agency right now. Really, since signing Ryan O'Hearn, it's been radio silence for about a month now with the Bucks and signing a free agent. Jeff Passan, top MLB insider for ESPN, said the Pirates aren't done. I would hope that's the case. They did Passan give me a heart attack 2 days ago. Saw a post from him saying Suarez to the Red Sox on a 5-year, $130 million deal. Immediately, my heart skipped a beat, thinking that was Eugenio Suarez, the third baseman that I desperately want the Pirates to go get. Instead, it was Ranger Suarez, left-handed starting pitcher from the Philadelphia Phillies. So hopefully there is a Suarez to the Pirates coming up here soon enough, that being Eugenio. If not, I don't know what sort of legit major league bat they're going to throw at third base to begin the season. Free agency in the MLB definitely has picked up over the past 24 hours. Kyle Tucker, going to the LA Dodgers last night. Double lockout 2027. Can't wait for it. That happened last night. Bo Bichette, he went to the New York Mets this morning. Probably going to play third base for them. Some other free agent deals getting signed here. Now, a month away from some major league spring training camps beginning to get rolling. Free agency going to pick up real fast. Hopefully the Bucks are able to swoop in here and get a deal done with Eugenio Suarez and a couple other good free agents in the meantime. Last thing here in the extra Pittsburgh sports news for the day. This not related to the Penguins, but it is still crazy to see where the Penguins were with this coach a year ago and seeing where this coach is now. The New York Rangers today, they had to release a statement from their general manager, Chris Drury, saying that the team is going into a retool for the rest of the year. They're not calling it a rebuild. They're calling it a retool. Who do you think you are, Art Rooney II? We're retooling. We're not rebuilding. Basically this whole statement here saying that the Rangers are going to be selling off some maybe fan favorite names, some veterans, some longtime pieces of their team. So they are going to be sellers at this deadline. Crazy. Was not expecting to see this from the Rangers with Mike Sullivan joining their team this offseason. But hey, I mean, can't say we warned the Rangers that something like this could happen. And also, them selling off pieces now, that just makes one less team that the Penguins have to worry about nipping at their heels as they race for a playoff spot. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I think that just about is going to wrap it up here tonight. So I want to thank you all for joining in. One last time, I'm going to go to the comments here, see what last few things you guys have in here before we log off. Concepts here. McDaniel seems like such a South Park character. He kind of does, though. Though I know it's, his style. I'm not bashing or anything. Just the constant roll up on the pants above the ankles has always seemed kind of, flashy to me. So who knows? I mean, I can't criticize the guy too hard. I can't criticize him too hard because I'll see him, say, hey, would love to have him be the Ravens head coach because his teams don't win in the cold. And then in the next breath, I'll say, if we hire a defensive head coach and they need an offensive coordinator who's got a modern day feel on offense in the NFL, McDaniels wouldn't be a bad option for the Steelers. I don't know. Not going to bash him too hard until anything becomes official here. Concepts here. Coach T, Steeler for life. Indeed, he is Steeler for life. But now, moving into a new era. Just bought tickets for Lightning versus Penguins April 2nd, 2022. Is that down in Tampa, Flacco? Have fun at that. Weren't you at the other game this year? That was an absolute crazy one. We were live for that game down in Tampa. We were live here on the channel. That's when it looked like Nikita Kucherov or someone scored a game-tying goal. It was called back on an offside. Pens ended up hanging on to that win. So you're good luck for the Penguins when you go in person, Flacco. Hope you have fun again when you go. Look in here. Some other comments before we log off here for the night. CW Rider feels like the Pens missing that big enforcer front of the net like Hornquist back in the day. Hated that trade. Oh my goodness. You just mentioned one of my favorite Pittsburgh Penguins of all time who was not a superstar, but damn it, did I love the way he played. Patrick Hornquist. Have his jersey, absolutely admired the way he played hockey. Tried, when I was playing high school hockey to mirror my playing style after his as best as I could. Wasn't nearly as good as Hornquist, but yeah, damn it, I loved Horny and hated to see him go, but not too long after that trade when he went down to Florida, I think his some health stuff forced him to retire, but yeah, loved Hornquist. Penguins right now, do they have that big net front presence? No. Do they have guys who could be capable of doing that? I would think, Anthony Mantha and Justin Brazeau have the type frame to do that type of stuff. Nola Chari on the fourth line. I mean, he could do that too, just doesn't get the chance to do it all that often because of ice time and whatnot. But as long as the Pens keep putting up wins, I won't complain. If they can go out and get one of those net front present guys at the trade deadline, I'll be happy with that because it is those type of guys that will get you greasy goals and W's in the playoffs. Just haven't seen all that much of greasy goals for the Pens this year. Maybe get a guy that specializes in that. That'll be good. Yeah, yours too as well. I mean, easy guy to like there, CW. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I think that just about wrapped it. Is just about going to wrap things up here for the night. 2 days off, sick, come back immediately, back to the grind over 2 hours and 15 minutes on stream here tonight. But hey, you guys brought the entertainment. You guys brought the content. Driving the bus here. So thankful for all that. Thankful for all of you commenting, all of you who subscribed, had a good viewership night as well. Final subscriber count here this evening, up to 712 subscribers. So we gained 4 new subscribers here this evening. CW, I know you're one of them. Appreciate you. Please come on back here on Monday when we reconvene for the news that may come over the weekend. Thank you to the other 3 new subscribers as well. Appreciate you guys. And yeah, appreciate you all. Appreciate all the kind wishes for me being sick over the past couple of days. Hopefully, over the weekend here, I'll be fully recharged with the batteries, and we'll have a ton to talk about. Talk about Penguins hockey. Talk about the latest rumors and reports on the Steelers head coaching search. Anything new going on with Mike Tomlin, all that. Hopefully, the Pittsburgh Pirates do something. Anything and everything that happens with the 3 Pittsburgh professional sports teams, we will talk about back here on Monday and continue to do so. So thank you all. Have a good rest of your Friday night. Thank you for the kind wishes. On your way out, hit that subscribe button if you have not done so already. Turn on notifications, like, share, leave a comment in the comment section after the fact. Any thoughts that you did not get in here tonight, please put those in the comment section afterwards. I can drop you a like and leave a comment on that as well. Also, go give the channel a follow at Steel City SR on Facebook, Instagram, and X, and come back later on tonight for a new edition of SCSR 60. Thank you all. Have a good rest of your Friday night. Enjoy your weekend. I'm going to go get some more sleep, hopefully, and we will reconvene back here on Monday. Thank you all. Peace. Back here on Monday. See ya.